Sharon here. Today we're going to be making this watercolour card, and the main reason for that is just because I've got this new mat and I want to give it a road test. This is the Waffle Flower Water Media mat. It's really useful. It's a kind of silicone type material, so it clings to your normal glass mat or your desktop. And this clear piece here is actually a bit of the packaging, but I've seen other people do this, and what I've done is I've just trimmed that so I can slot it back in, and this will just give me an easier to clean inkwell than cleaning it directly on the mat. So I've grabbed some watercolour cards, and this is the new Sizzix Azalea 3D embossing folder. So I'm just running that through off screen, and it gives a really lovely finish. And I thought it'd be great to test my watercolouring mat with these. So what I've grabbed is, these are my Alter New watercolours. And this is a set of just a few different individual watercolours I've bought. I particularly like these greens, so I do tend to grab these as well as my Alter New ones when I'm watercolouring. I was originally planning to put all of my watercolours in this tin, but I quite like the Alter New ones as they are, so at least I've got some space now if I see any other individual colours I want. So I'm just using the inkwells, and you can see here how easy it is to clean them. I hadn't got the green off my paintbrush, so it was turning a bit muddy. And of course, the good thing with this media mat being white is that you do get a true representation of the colour. So as you put the watercolour into these wells, you can really see the colour. So this is really useful if you're mixing them. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to go for 3 shades of pink, because I don't want the flowers to all be the same colour. I'm not doing anything crazy with this watercolouring in terms of mixing my own colours or even adding any real shading. I'm just going to colour it fairly simply, because really the main thing of this video is just to have a play with this mat really. So I will actually speed through the watercolouring. I'll just do a little bit and then whiz through to the end, rather than make you watch hours of me. No, it didn't take hours actually, it only took me about 20 minutes, but I will whiz through to the end once we've just done a little bit to save some time. So I'm just laying down some green on the leaves. This embossing folder is really quite lovely to colour actually, because you've got the embossed areas. It does make it easier because of course the paint sits within the embossed areas, so you haven't got to worry about it sort of really going outside the lines. I am, however, trying, which will give it quite a messy look, but I am trying to actually colour over the embossed areas, so the raised areas I'm colouring as well, which does mean I've got to be a little bit careful, but I did quite like that look. So this is the lightest pink that I'm doing in this corner here, and then I'm just going to skip around this really so that I'm not putting colours next to each other while they're still wet. So that's the good thing with having different areas. I've got leaves, and then I'm going to have the 3 different colours for the flowers. It means I can kind of skip round it, and by the time I come back to do the flower next to the leaves will be dry, etc. So I've whizzed through to the last stage. You can see I've coloured in all the flowers, and now I'm just going to add some yellow to the stamens in the centre of each. So let's chat a bit more about the mat, because that's really the main focus of this video. You can see how easy it is for watercolouring. A great thing for me, you can see how my light is reflecting above it on my glass mat. If I didn't have this silicone mat on my glass mat, I would have had to move my halo light quite a bit away from my desk actually, to prevent the reflection. And on a cloudy day, that really does make my lighting situation a bit tricky. So the main reason I bought this mat was so that I can put it on top of my glass mat when I'm filming videos, and it's going to avoid that glare thing. Also being white, I think it does show the colours really nicely. You can see here how lovely and vibrant, how clearly you can see all the colours and how clearly you can see what I'm doing. So for me, I think this is going to be really useful for doing my videos. I like the feel of it as well because it's silicone. Obviously I'm leaning on it to work, and it is quite nice. It's a bit softer and a bit warmer than my glass mat, so I do like that. I like the inkwells because I use that area on my glass mat that's got the grids when I'm doing things like this, and if I were just using my glass mat I'd have these colours within those grids, but because they're just on the glass as such, they're not actual wells, I do find I get quite messy with the glass mat, and I do tend to spread all over the place with whatever I'm watercolouring with. So I think that those few elements are going to make this quite worthwhile for me. The one downside, which you're seeing now, is this is the first time I've used this mat, and you can see already on the mat itself some of that pink hasn't come off, and it does say on the packaging that some different mediums might stain the mat. Now I have only just cleaned this with baby wipes, so it could well be that if I try something a bit stronger I'll get that staining off. But for me, I'm a bit of a tidy freak, and I like all my things, I do clear up every time I make anything, and I like all my things to be pristine. So I think that will bother me in a while if this starts to get messy looking as such, but you can see here how it really does work well for filming. And while I'm talking about filming, actually I should mention there's another feature of this mat. You can see in the corners, probably doesn't show too well, but in each corner there's an L shape, and that's so that if you want to, you can zoom your camera so that you are literally just filming within that frame, which does make it easy, because it is quite hard sometimes when you're filming to keep your hands within the right area. So if you can line your camera up with the mat itself, you know that as long as you're on the mat, you're in frame. So that's very useful. I'm just putting the final touches to this card together. So there we go. And now I'm just adding a stamped greeting to this that I've already done. I wanted to keep it quite simple, and I also have picked a dark strip of card for this because obviously that background is very vibrant, so I don't want to detract from that, but equally whatever sentiment I use has got to stand out against all of that, so a dark strip is just the ideal way, really. So that's the finished card. Hopefully this has been useful for you. Please bear in mind this is literally the first time I've used this mat, so it's going to be interesting for me to see how well it holds up in terms of the staining, because for me that's the one slight downside to it, particularly if I am going to use it for filming videos. It would be nice if I can keep it looking white, so we'll see how that goes. And if you've got any tips, leave me a comment in the comments area if you've got any tips on things to clean this with. I will give it a go with some soapy water and see how that goes, because as I say, I've only used a baby wipe so far, but we'll see. Hopefully that's given you an idea of what it looks like and how well it functions anyway. So hopefully I'll be back soon with another video, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up if this has been useful to you. Thanks very much. Bye.